Last week, I went to the International Quilt Festival for the very first time. Now, I wasn't sure what to expect because I am not a quilter, but I do use quilting cotton to make clothes, and you've seen some of my work here on my channel. Now, I was really surprised at how big this event was and how many vendors were in the marketplace selling all kinds of stuff. Now, of course, there was everything you could possibly imagine for quilts, but after some hunting around, I found some very cool stuff for sewers too. Today, I'm going to show you the tools I got, the notions and fabric, and what I plan to do with them. Hey Sewer, I'm so glad that we're hanging out together today. If we haven't met, I'm Tony, and this is So Lounge. Now, the International Quilt Festival takes place here in Houston every fall, and for some reason I've just never gone before, and I didn't really know much about it. I convinced my friend Jen to go with me, and she met me down at the George R. Brown Convention Center, and we went through this whole process of exploration together. Now, the International Quilt Festival is broken up into two parts basically. So you have one whole side of the hall that is hundreds of quilts on display, all in competition for various categories. And then the other side is all vendors for various things. So it ranged from, long arm quilting machines to sewing tables and cabinets, all kinds of high-tech equipment. Bernina was there with a huge display and the latest Cafe Facet sewing machine, all kinds of stuff like that. All the machine companies were there. And, I really wasn't sure what I was going to find that would be applicable to my sewing and what I like to do, but I was very excited, and I am so happy to share that with you today. Now, I'm going to leave links to the various booths that I went to down in the description below, and some of them have better sites than the other, but it'll kind of give you an idea if you want to go check it out, see what other things they offer for sale. The very first booth that Jen and I happened upon was called French Connections, and they are out of Pittsboro, North Carolina. Now, funny story, my friend Kitty lives in Pittsboro, and she actually told me that they were going to be at the Quilt Fest and to go check them out. So the fact that we just walked down an aisle and ran into their booth was quite fortuitous. And they have a selection of really beautiful French textiles. They also have African textiles, some textiles from South America, and a bunch of baskets and things as well from Africa. So what really caught my eye first off was this gorgeous mola, and this is from Panama. This is a traditional textile, and the way that it's made is by stacking fabric and then cutting away parts of it, and it's kind of a reverse embroidery. So the pink is the very background. So when you see the pink in the design, it's been cut down to that design. And then the second layer is the black fabric. So where you see that, there's still pink underneath. So from the back side, it's all pink, and then you can see all the stitch lines. But I just thought this was gorgeous. I love the geometric design. I thought it was very modern. And I envision this in a classic black jacket and putting this into the back panel. So from the front, it just looks like a basic jacket. Turn around, you've got this incredible pop of color right in the middle of your back. And of course I have to find the right pattern for that doesn't have a seam up the center back, but I just thought that would be absolutely gorgeous, and I can't wait to make that in the coming year. So that had to come home with me. The next piece of fabric that I got is this very beautiful pink and yellow and blue fabric. This is from South Africa. The pink is actually dyed, and then the print is rolled on using brass rollers, and it's just pretty. I just thought it was really pretty. I actually thought it matched another fabric that Kitty had sent me, but it doesn't, but it's pretty close. So I have about a half a yard of this. It's actually probably less than a half a yard. It is, yeah, it's about a half a yard. So I'm not sure what I'm going to make with this, but I thought it might be pretty to make like a little clutch or some kind of an accessory of some sort, maybe a bag. I haven't decided, but I just really love this fabric, so it also came home with me. I kind of wish I would have gotten the companion piece that I thought was the one I had, but I can always ask Kitty to run up there and grab that for me. Last but not least, I had to get one of these beautiful little woven baskets. This is also from South Africa. This is woven with telephone wire. And the interesting way about the way that this is woven is it's woven from the top down instead of from the bottom up. So it's just a really pretty basket. I actually got this for Anna to put on her sewing table to keep clips in or something like that. And they had really beautiful things, and Jen bought some linens, and we kicked it off right at the French Connections. Our next stop was a booth called French European, and there were some dress forms there which caught our eye, needless to say, because Jen sews clothes like I do, but there were racks and racks of sewing tools, which I'm always on the search for a new marking devices to see what works better, and this did not disappoint. I also found a few things that have been sitting on my Amazon wish list for a while, and a couple of things I didn't know I needed. So let's get started with the marking tools. I got this Clover tracing paper. I have never tried Clover. They're more for like quilting stuff. So I never really think to look for their tracing paper when I'm at Joann's, but this is their Clover chalk copy. I assume that's like chalk copy, their own word. This comes in multiple colors. It's supposed to work well, so I grabbed a pack of it because I've never tried this before. And then I also got some Japanese chalk clicky pencils. So these are in, this one's pink, and then this one's white. And these were $3.95 each, so I figured why not try them out and see if they work. And if I like them, I can buy some more next year. And then I also got this fabric eraser pencil kind of eraser thing. It kind of clicks out as well. This was a little bit more. This was $8. But I figured I'd try this out. You know, marking pens that are either washable or heat disappearing, they work okay, but sometimes you've got that weird fabric and you need a different kind of pen, so I figured why not try these out. I also got this Clover roll and press. So I'd seen another YouTuber use this or try this out for just quick pressing seams without having to get up and go to the sewing machine. And while this will not work for all fabrics, it will work for most cotton fabrics because it is designed for quilters. And so that kind of weight of cotton would definitely work to press the seams open. In her video, she had liked it. And so I thought, hey, I will put that on my Amazon wish list. So when I found it in person, I decided to just buy it. The other thing that was on my Amazon wish list is this expanding sewing gauge. So I'll open this up so y'all can see it. This is for marking buttons, but apparently you can also use it to mark pleats. Wow, this is really packaged very, very tightly. It's probably more packaging than they need on this. There we go. So it's really cool because it has the little slots to mark the different lengths of the buttons, and then you can stretch it out. Sometimes when I've been sewing a certain pattern with buttons, I've realized that I might add length to it, and then I need an extra buttonhole a little further down, and kind of just guessing it stresses me out. So this would be perfect for that. It also is good apparently for marking pleats. There are measurements down the entire length of this little vertical piece, so that would be super helpful too. It goes down to 6 inches, it looks like. So I just thought that would be handy. I've had one of these in my cart on Amazon, and you know, I like to support small business, so the fact that they had some available, I decided this would be something I needed to bring home. So moving on to the things I didn't know I needed. I didn't realize this was actually a thing. So this is a drawstring threader, and you can see there's a loop at the end, 2 loops. And when I was making my pajamas for the first time before I found out they were too big, I kept losing the drawstring inside the casing of the pajamas, and it was driving me crazy because I spent like, 10 minutes sewing them and 20 minutes trying to get the drawstring into the casing, and I didn't know they had this. So I bought it. It was $5. I was like, this is coming home with me. This is going to just save so much time. Plus, I have to remake the pajamas anyway, so at least I don't have to spend 20 minutes trying to feed the drawstring in. So that was good. And last, I'm really loving this. I don't know if you guys watched Making the Cut, the first season. Esther, who was the German contestant, she had this really cool pincushion that was black and gold, and it looked really neat on her wrist, and it looked so efficient. Well, they had some on Amazon, and the band was really, really hard plastic. So I bought one, but it was unwearable because it was just painful with my wrist, and I kind of have a little bit of a big wrist. So when I found this one, which just snaps on and like kind of adjusts to a nice tight fit, I had to get it because I'm always looking for something to hold pins, and realistically I wear it on this wrist, but it's easier to show you guys on this one. When I'm pinning things, either pinning a hem or, taking in just stuff when I'm using my dress form, I like a nice pin cushion. The ones that I usually use are like the old school kind that, if you hit against something will stab you. We all had that problem in college when we wear those around. But I just love this pin cushion. It was a little bit pricey. It was like $24, but it was made in Germany. So, oh well. It was a little bit pricey, but I'm going to use it a lot, so I figured it was worth it. Wandering around in the middle of one of the main aisles, I came across a booth called Kimono Momo, and they specialize in Japanese textiles and sewing supplies. I have their little card down here, which is what I'm looking at. And they had Japanese fabrics, which I love, and they also had some printed sashiko cloth as well. Now, if you're not familiar with sashiko, it is a traditional Japanese embroidery, and this is basically what it looks like. It's an indigo background. The design is pre-printed on it, and you're supposed to stitch it in white. I bought this a few years ago and did not want to stitch it in white. I used pink ombre thread instead. I like the way it turned out. The lady at the booth was horrified when I got this, but I haven't seen it anywhere else because I haven't gone to any kind of quilting things since then. And that was a very tiny quilt fair. So I was very excited when I found another sashiko cloth with a dragonfly motif to go with my original one. And the cool thing about this is you can see how everything is pre-printed on the indigo fabric. And then on the back, they tell you how you're supposed to stitch it properly in the traditional method. So I will probably try that this time around. The first time I was just doing what I wanted. The back should be as beautiful as the front. It is not, as you can see. But I was going to turn this first one into a pillow, and I figured that now I'll have a companion piece to go with it, and I will have two pillows. I went and bought some fabric for the pillow parts to attach these to, and I got this really pretty, I'm not sure if it's a wave print or more of a cloud. It just was really, really pretty. It's going to look nice all together. It's all the same indigo colors, and it kind of looks like the clouds in the print of this sashiko as well. So those were some things that I picked up there, and that will be something I can work on while I'm just hanging out relaxing. I'm looking forward to that. I also got some super cute Japanese cat fabric for Anna, because she is making bags and purses and wallets right now, and I thought she could use this. This is a 1/2 yard cut. You can see the little cats on it. It's just super cute, and it's all made in Japan. So that was the first one I got, and then I got her this one as well, which is a little bit darker, but it has like the little lucky cats on it with some fish, and I just thought that was very cute too. The cool thing about Kimono Momo is that they do have a website where you can buy a lot of stuff. The lady at the booth told me that they do sell their fabrics in yardage. So if I wanted to make a jacket or something out of some of their fabrics, they would actually cut it in 1 yard lengths. At the booth, the largest length they had was the 1/2 yard. So that doesn't really lend itself to clothing, but it was good to know that you can get that online. If you are interested in their booth, don't forget, I'm leaving a link in the description below, and they have all kinds of stuff. They have all the sashiko stuff, the pre-printed, the thread, the needles, and a ton of gorgeous Japanese fabrics in a variety of pre-cuts for quilting or yardage if you would like to use them for fabric. So be sure to go check them out. Remember how I said that there were all sorts of sewing machine companies at the Quilt Fest? Well, I came across a booth called the Featherweight Shop. And if you don't know about this, Singer made a featherweight sewing machine in the late 40s, early 50s, and it's making a huge comeback. Like, they're all over eBay and people are using them. There's, you know, blogs about them, there's videos about them. They've really returned in full force and popularity. Now, my grandma has a featherweight, and she got it in 1950 or 1951. She couldn't quite remember. It was a Christmas gift from my grandfather, who put it on layaway, didn't tell her, and used his cigarette money to buy her sewing machine. And she never expected it because it was $150, and she just thought that was going to be out of their budget and that she'd just have to use the older machine that she already had. So, according to Grandma, it sews like a dream, and she has sewn thousands of miles of fabric using her sewing machine. So she gave it to me, and I haven't used it because it hasn't been serviced. Grandma did not remember ever having it serviced. She does think that at some point my grandfather probably put a little oil on it to keep it running, but she didn't actually remember ever taking it anywhere to get it serviced by a a Singer place. So I was super excited when I found this featherweight tune-up kit. It has everything I need to get my machine up and running. It has a belt, there is oil, there are little feet, there's a LED light bulb so I don't get burned. And then added bonus, there is an entire manual with step-by-step instructions on how to clean and maintain and change all these parts so that I can get my featherweight up and running in no time. If you have a featherweight, you totally need to check out their site. They have everything you could possibly want. They have all the presser feet, so I will probably be making a visit to pick up a couple of extra ones because Grandma only has like 2 or 3 that were still in the box. But if you would like to see me sew on this, let me know in the comments below. I thought it might be fun to do some projects with Grandma using the Singer featherweight up in 2023. So if that's something you'd like to see happen, let me know. I think it'll be kind of a fun experience for everybody, including me, because I've never sewn on a machine this old. So the other thing I got that was just super fun is this little sewing machine cookie cutter. Grandma makes sugar cookies every Christmas, and so I thought it'd be fun to go over and make some with her, and I will make the sewing machine variety for us to eat, and then we'll give the Christmassy ones to the rest of the family. So just when I thought I'd spent enough money and it was time to go, I was walking out of the marketplace area and headed towards the door, and I glanced to my left and saw that there was an entire booth of nothing but buttons. And if you've watched any of my videos, you know I love buttons. I collect them, I keep them in jars, and vintage buttons were just a little bit too much for me. I was super excited when I found this booth and thinking like, oh, well, I can look later, buy them online, And then there were signs all over the booth that said there was no website, there was no mail order, there was no way to get the buttons unless I bought them today. So I had to buy the buttons today. And I'm so excited about these buttons. I went a little crazy. I did buy a lot of buttons, and I'm just going to show you some of them now by holding them up. But let's go in for a closer look so you can actually see them and all their button beautifulness, and I will tell you what my plans are for them. These are the buttons. We are going in for a closer look. They are plastic, but they are like vintage plastic, which had a different name, which I did not write down and I have since forgotten. And the cool thing is that they're all the same size, but they're different buttons. So these are these really cool kind of domed buttons, and they were just, I just like them. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with these specifically, but I like that they were all different, but then they were all the same size. So that makes them a little bit easier to work with. These are some blue ones that I just thought were really pretty. Then they have these gorgeous green ones, which kind of look like malachite, and they have that cool edge on them. And I just thought they were so beautiful. And of course, I had to get purple ones because I love purple. These are a little bit more modern. Got a little brass in that one. And I like those. These are some older ones, all black, because you know, you can never go wrong with black buttons. And they just had really cool designs like on the individual buttons. They make me happy, y'all. I don't know what to say. I have problems. These are some really gorgeous ones. These were some of the older ones. And these were $25 for these buttons, which I know sounds crazy, but I love buttons. These are beautiful. And these in particular, I was thinking would look fantastic on a 40s style, maybe tweed, kind of interesting brown suit jacket. I just thought those would be gorgeous with that. So that's what we're looking at for those. I do have some 40s suit patterns that are reprints, so we will check those out, see if the buttons will work. And then these were just some basic black ones that I also really liked. And then right when I was checking out, because you know, they got to get you with the buttons, they had glass buttons, very vintagey, right by the register. And so you can see how pretty these are too. And I had to get these as well. These were $29. They were a little pricey, but they're so beautiful. And I can just envision them on just about anything, because, you know, and the cool thing about these buttons is that you wouldn't necessarily have to make buttonholes for all of them. I would do a technique where the button would be on the top and then there would be snaps, so you're not constantly pulling on the button and risking losing them potentially. So what do you think I should do with these buttons? I have a plan for the brown ones, kind of for a 40s style suit. Let me know what you think I should do with the other ones in the comments below. Now, while I was checking out, I did, number one, confirm that Dusty's Vintage Buttons would be back at the Quilt Fest next year, so I can plan accordingly. And I was chatting with the owner, Michelle, about, you know, how I sew clothes, and I was wearing my Queen of Hearts jacket, which is in the thumbnail of this video, and just talking about sewing clothing and looking for unusual fabric. And she told me that her friend did original fabric designs and had a booth on the other side of the marketplace, and to go check it out because all of her designs were original. The fabrics were beautiful. They were made in Korea. And so I wandered over there. So the name of the booth was Serious Whimsey. She does have an Etsy shop, which is open sometimes. She does travel around to a lot of quilt shows. So you can follow her on Instagram. I'm going to put the links below and just see her other designs. There were a lot of really beautiful prints, and she did have some of them on bolts that I could buy in, you know, yardage lengths. So the one that caught my eye was this one, and it has the name on. It's called Purple Web, and it's on white, and it's kind of purples and blues and fuchsias, and it's all colors that, you know, I pretty much wear all the time and make things with. And it's a lovely cotton. It feels like a cotton sateen. I mean, that's just what it feels like. I don't know if that's what it is or not. But it has a really lovely hand. I got 4 yards of this because I'm thinking a dress. I'm not sure what kind of dress. I was thinking kind of sleeveless with a slightly full skirt, no waist because I don't like stuff with waist. We will go through the pattern stash and see if I can find something that would go with this. I kind of wish I would have had a little bit more time because I needed to get out of downtown Houston before traffic hit. And so I did not have as much time as I would have liked to wander around her booth and look at all her yardage. And now it turns out that her Etsy shop is not open most of the time, and I will have to wait until the Quilt Fest next year. But that's okay. It will give me something to plan for. And I am looking forward to that. Let me know what you think I should do with this fabric. I have 4 yards of it, so that is enough to, you know, maybe do a 2-piece thing or a full skirt with a dress like I was thinking. If you have a better idea, let me know. And if you've enjoyed this video, you are going to love this one.